Hi, everybody. It's Jennifer Filzen. You are here with Connecting with Jennifer Filzen. Today's guest is Jonathan Feldman, and we met through another networking thing, and I thought he was so cool. I was like, come on, you got to play with me. So Jonathan is in Florida, and Jonathan, if you don't mind, tell us who you are and where you are and what do you do and all that fun stuff.
Right. So my name is Jonathan Feldman. I'm pleased to be here. I am in Pompano Beach, Florida, actually a city off the side of Pompano Beach known as Margate. And I am with a company, Creative Financial Network. We are an independent advisory firm. And really the best way to say what I do as an independent insurance advisor is to just educate people about what their options are. And we'll talk about it a little bit, but there are so many misconceptions about what people think about insurance and the people who sell them. And you know, my approach has always been talk to people, consult with them, you know, and then they make better and more informed decisions to get what they want. And that pretty much works across the board.
Yes, so true. I don't know if you know this, but I used to sell insurance for about 5 years.
It's
Yeah.
not that easy.
It's not, and I was not the personality that was like it was not my wheelhouse. But I was appreciative of residual income, which you earn
Right.
from the accounts that you accumulate over the years. So are you focusing mostly on health and life insurance, or are you also doing property and casualty?
No, I'm doing my license is life, health, and annuities. So my overall focus with people is preparing for retirement, which you can start at any age. You know,
Very good.
my approach to this, and you'll understand this, is totally different in that mine is not a hard sales cold call. Hey, I got this for you, because I find that's just not my style. You know, it never has been. You know, in a lot of cases, it gives people in the business a bad name, and so that's why my approach is meet people, talk to them, get to know them, find out what they're about, and then talk about what options are. And they usually pick the right ones. But as I say, you know, the most fun part is, and again, you'll understand this, is that when you say you play a word game, right? I say insurance, what do you think of? Most people, when you say insurance, they think about, oh God, when I'm gone, who am I leaving this money to? And that's the only purpose for it. So they don't understand that it is something that really integrates into your overall financial planning process, and it provides so many other sort of cash equivalent benefits along the way. So that's the fun part of explaining it to people.
Yeah. It takes a certain individual to say that it's fun. So I commend you. I don't know.
It has its days, but you know.
So there are a lot of insurance people out there. There's a lot of insurance. I mean, you hear the word insurance, and there's auto insurance, home insurance, fire insurance, earthquake insurance, hurricane insurance, life insurance, term life insurance, universal life insurance. Like,
Yeah.
there's supplemental health, there's Obamacare. There's like, oh my gosh, right? There's
Right.
umbrella. I mean, I'm just rattling renter's insurance. I'm rattling off the policies that I have, Jonathan.
Right. Yeah, exactly. You know, and you leave out things like long-term care, disability.
There's that, right? Okay, so it is easy to look like everyone else in what
Mhm.
you. Let's face it. Like I have a class that I teach where I talk to business owners, especially when they're in a commodities market, of which you are.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of looks the same. And I say to them, okay, I worked at the aquarium for several years as a volunteer. Can you tell the difference between the penguins? No.
Oh.
The penguins know who they are, but if they didn't have like a little armband on their stating their name and their gender, I would have no idea who's who. How do you differentiate yourself? What makes you special and unique in the insurance world?
Okay, so again, I come back to a couple of different things. Number one is the companies that I affiliate myself with. So a basic explanation, when you are talking to somebody who sells insurance, they can be captive, which means they work for a New York Life or a MetLife or any of the name brands, and the products that they can talk to you about are those products. Or the person you are talking to can be independent. I'm independent, which means that I listen to what it is you are trying to do and what your needs are, and then I can go out into the market and bring to you the best of breed off the shelf product that fits your needs. So that's one difference. Yeah, and, I mean, and then the other difference is that some of the other people that I work with are some of them are stock people. You know, they have their Series 7 securities license. Some of them do what I do, plus they have property and casualty capabilities, which is to say, we each have our areas of expertise. The benefit to me and in working with me is that I work with a client. I get to know that client. When you get out, you will get out of my area of expertise, then I will bring somebody else in. And here's a key difference. When I bring somebody else in, I don't say, Jennifer, here is my partner, David, have a nice day. I am always in the room. So at that point, I become sort of like the quarterback of your financial team. And I bring in people to be on my team to help serve you as required, right? Because none of us knows everything. So what I do and what Creative Financial Network does is our advice is a whole lot more holistic, number one. And number two is that we've got a lot of depth because we have people that each of us can bring to the table as need be. So you are, if I work with you, you are always my client. And then I bring in people as need be. So that's another major difference. And again, the other difference is that I'm totally consultative. I have never been a high pressure salesperson in any of the past career, this career, just that's not my style. So my real goal is to get to know you and then to go from there. That's more important. It's not about the sale and not to be, we kind of sometimes say in between ourselves, if you buy something from me or you don't, I still go home and eat at night and I sleep well at night, you know, which is that I give you what you need. I am old and I have enough schools of hard knocks. You know, it's the old thing is I wish I knew 20 years ago what I know today, right? And so that's a part of my why is to look at people who are in their late 20s and their 30s and say, look, folks, these are some things that you can be doing to protect yourself, to build a lifestyle that you want, to be able to retire when you choose to retire, not because somebody says you can retire at 66 and you have to wait that long, right? So that's really the crux of what I do is to work with the individual so that they can avoid some of the mistakes that all of us have made along the way.
Good for you.
You
So,
know?
okay, that's one asset of your life, you know, the insurance
Yeah,
world. But of
right.
course, you have a life outside of that. So
I do.
I'm kind of curious, okay, who do you serve in your life? What's going on in your life and how are you a servant to those people that you care about?
Through friendship, you know. I mean, you get to know a lot of people along the way, right? But you have a couple of really close friends, and so that you've known for a long time. But to me, it's all about, you know, the integrity and loyalty to your friends as you build them. So you're there for them when they need you, and you're there for them when you just want to have a good time, right? You kind of build this extended family, and I think that's important, you know. You spend a lot of time working, so you got to balance it with life. That's always been kind of a challenge for me. You know, my previous career, I will say, I spent many years in the broadcast and satellite communications business. Started on the technology side and then ended up on the business side, which was all of your strategic planning, competitive market analysis. So when I had the chance to move over into doing insurance, which allowed me to kind of build my own business, I look at it as I just switched sides of the table, which is to say, in the corporate world, you help companies make money and do right financially. And I'm still doing the same thing, except now instead of doing it for companies that really don't need it, I'm doing it for people like you and me, where there is a need to help you accumulate money and save it and have it for when you want, you know.
Oh, that
And
did
so
you
we,
retire first, or did you stop in your career midstream and then switch over?
it's more of I switched over. I was working for a company here in the Fort Lauderdale area, and this opportunity came along for a number of reasons. It made sense, and also being at that point being like 60, it was like, okay, let's try the next phase. It's a lot of the same skill set, but it's a chance to build something for me. It was an opportunity to say I could work 60 hours a week or 30 hours a week, or I could modify a schedule, what was happening in my life and what I wanted to do. And after about 30 years of 60 hours a week, this was a nice way to go. So.
Was it scary to do that at age 60?
Oh, it's always scary. I think it's always scary. It's for a number of reasons. It's scary. Number one is if it doesn't work out, or it doesn't work out totally the way you want, then how do you pivot and what is that going to look like? It's also a little bit different in that I was very fortunate in that I knew what I wanted to do from the time I was in high school, and I did it. I got to do it. When you are in that position, you bring a passion to the career such that it's not, you work and you have a personal life, but it is your life, right? And particularly in a broadcast world. So I was really, really fortunate. So part of the whole mindset has to be, okay, I'm going to try something new. What if it's not quite the same? How do you modify it? So, and that's an ongoing educational process.
Right. There's a lot to learn as you're transitioning, and
Oh yeah,
it does take a certain
yeah.
brass balls. I mean, right?
Yes. Well, it does. It
Yeah,
does.
but at the same time, it's like you don't want to be on your deathbed with any regrets of
Right.
what could I have done, and if you
Yep.
didn't take that leap, then yeah. So are you happy that you took the leap?
Yeah, I am, I mean, I always think about, well, I could do this or I could do that. And it's largely because having spent so many years in the business world, there are facets of that I miss. So it's kind of like, back in the old fire horse up to the wagon, right? Somebody goes, I have a business idea and a plan, and my first thing is, oh, I'll read that for you. So there's a lot of that goes on. Or even now, I'm working with a client, or working towards working with a client, and their particular situation is I'll be there at night going, I wonder if he's thought about this. What about if he, it's kind of ingrained in you. So there are those pieces that I miss. Or oddly enough, in the old world, it was, okay, we're doing a certain sort of a deal, so there's a contract to read or contract to write and to draft. And although not being an attorney, I have helped draft a number of contracts. So those are the kinds of things that are ingrained in you for so long that you tend to miss them. If you enjoyed them, you tend to miss them. And so we all have those topics and those things. But
But it's always interesting how your superpowers that you exercised back here can
right.
serve you up here. I was just at a funeral yesterday for a friend's daughter, and the friend, he was telling me that before she passed away unexpectedly, she got into a little fender bender, and that the person that she got into a fender bender with was trying to sue for medical or more damages. And because the dad, my friend whose daughter passed away, because he has such a vast background in working for the Valley Transit Authority in San Jose, he was his nickname was Batman. He would be the one that would come out and determine what was happening in an accident with one of their trains with
Uh-huh.
buses, if a person threw themselves in front of a bus or a train and committed suicide, like he was the person that did the trigonometry to figure out how fast something was going, work with the police to determine the accident situation, and then talk to the insurance companies about what exactly happened in this particular.
Interesting.
So that background, as this particular case was unfolding and his daughter had already passed away, he's having a communication with the insurance company that probably nobody else could have
Right.
based of the background. And so he's like, so here's the situation and here's the situation, and what do you want to do? And they're like, you know what, she was at no fault, let's go ahead and say decline on this particular case. So it was an interesting thing. Mark, aren't you glad you have this background? He's like, yeah, so we never know when our superpowers from the time.
Exactly.
Isn't that cool? I love it. You can
I mean,
coach.
well, yeah, and the other thing to keep in mind is, and you really have to kind of force yourself to think about it, because we think, okay, I'm doing this job, it has these parameters, and so this is what I'm doing, or I have this job over here, and this is it. The thing is that it doesn't have to be that black and white. So what I have to remind myself, and I'm actually finding out, is yes, my primary business right now is insurance, okay, and helping people and educating them how it works. However, it doesn't mean that there's not a gray area over here that I connect the dots and put the two together. My business acumen with a business client, and how the insurance product helps them do what they want to do in business outside of the realm of insurance. When you do that, it opens up other avenues for you personally that may fill in some of the gaps that you think you're missing personally in terms of what you enjoy or don't enjoy doing. It's that's the kind of a thing that I try to say to people in general, or to teach my kids, or is that your plan B could be a mix. There is no straight line, career-wise or any otherwise. And so you have to be open to the opportunities.
And the opportunity, new levels that you look for.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
That is so cool, Jonathan. I love it. So let me ask you this. We all have a why. We all have a reason why we get out of bed every day and go do. What is your why?
Well, like I said, as it pertains to what I'm doing right now, it is that there are lessons that I have learned along the way. My wife and I we're good, we're okay. However, you always wish, if I had done this, I would have been in a little bit better position, right? So, and I also know, I know from watching my folks where they worked all their lives, but they didn't have enough put away, or they didn't have as much as they would have liked to. And it's like, okay, I now have some insight into that. I can help prevent people from being in that position if they will just listen and have a little bit of discipline. And that's a big why, because the end result of people not having enough money put away, or knowing how to put a plan together so that they can have money put away when they get to retirement, is that then they become dependent on somebody else. Whether that somebody else is our favorite uncle, or it could be family, it could be anybody. But I think that that's a very difficult position to accept personally. I think it's a big emotional drain on people. So all the way around, it's just never easy. So if there is a way to help people learn more and to put themselves in a better position, and hopefully successfully, then that's enough of a why, you can kind of lead then the other side of that, you can lead the horse to water, you can't always make him drink, but at least you do what you can do,
Right. And admittedly, when we're in our 20s, it's a little harder to think so far ahead. And that $dollars, that $20, that $50 we could be squirreling away for the future looks really good, right?
No, absolutely.
And even in our 50s, our 60s, our 70s, we have things that, there's so much energy that goes into taking our money away from us,
Right.
right? Fear of
Yeah.
missing out, social construct, uh, education. Like there's so many things that's just like, just you need to buy this, you need to buy
Right.
this. And it's fascinating for me personally. I can say that I have saved more during COVID because I'm not doing as much.
Right. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's nice actually to save
And you
money.
don't feel like you've denied yourself anything, do you?
No, I don't feel like I've denied, but also too at age 50, yeah, I'm looking at the future going, okay, I got another 20 years. I better make this good. I
Right.
better come away because I don't want to be in that situation where an illness could wipe me out.
Yeah.
It's scary that we do not have as
Well,
many what's the word, net. We don't
right.
all have a safety net. We have to
Right.
make our as Americans.
Yeah. I mean, so the key thing to remember, and again, it's hindsight. We all learn it is politely. Life happens, right?
Right.
So you do something to put money away and to protect yourself. If
Totally.
life happens and you need a place to go get some cash to get yourself over the hump, you have a pot of money to do that, to take care of yourself. If everything goes smoothly according to your plan, you have a very nice nest egg to retire on. But either way, because there are people who end up without a nest egg, and it's not because they spend like crazy. It's not because they were, poor planners, or you pick the adjective. It's because life happens, something they had no control over, and they had to deal with it at the time. Um, if people would understand some basic precepts like that, and that would just have so many benefits. I mean, emotionally, they would stop beating themselves up, which is half the battle. That's number one. But then they would figure out, or try to figure out, a way to get back on their feet to fill the hole back in. Sometimes that's possible, sometimes it's not. But you try and you do your best at it. But you just gotta put away for the rainy day, and how and where you do it depends on where you are in a stage in life. The 30 something, the 25 and the 30-year-old, if you could get them to understand the true value of compound interest, that's a pure win. you know you know Somebody who is at your age at 50 or 55, and where retirement is sort of becomes more tangible because on the horizon, then the discussion is a little bit different in terms of how you position certain things, so it's safer and you don't lose it to profit loss in the market. So there's those kinds of things.
Wonderful.
You
I
got
love
to
it.
have this conversation.
I love it. I was going
Yeah,
to ask what advice you had, and here you are. You're already giving us advice. That's fantastic. So how do people get a hold of you, Jonathan? Please share with us, and I will write it down as you're saying it.
sure. So they can call me on my cell, which is 954-798-0700.
Okay.
And my email is Jonathan F, JONATHANF, at CFNSFL.com.
Ooh, C as in cat, F as
Yep.
in
Look,
financial, and
Frank. Right. So CFN, so it's Charlie, Frank, Nancy,
uh,
right? SFL for South Florida.
oh,
So
there you
CFNSFL.com.
Jonathan F at CFNSFL. Wow. Yeah, say that
Right?
faster.
Yes, right. CFNS, yeah, right, which basically stands for Creative Financial Network South Florida.
Oh, there you go. See,
There you go.
well, I
Yeah.
appreciate you so very, very much, Jonathan. Thank you for joining us. And everybody, I hope that you are less afraid of insurance. Like it really is. It's not a scary thing. It's actually a very
Oh,
helpful, but I think it's just unsexy. So I think that, but Jonathan brings some sexy back to insurance. So I hope you got a nice education. I hope that you appreciate compound interest, save some money, even if it's a small amount, and invest in yourself. And that really is a great way
Yeah,
to.
and reach out with any questions. Always happy to answer or point somebody in the right direction.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so very much. I've got to run off
Thank
to the
you.
call, but everybody, thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed Jonathan Feldman, and you have a beautiful day. All right, everybody. Bye.